Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to you yet another match that we are going to be covering here on the SEMO Was Taken stream. Of course, we just finished covering the T1 versus Envy matchup, which was a great 2-0 victory for T1. But I still think Envy had a great opportunity to come back. Of course, it was just hard fought. Moving on to the next match, it will be TSM up against 100 Blifted. And of course, I've got alongside me none other than Esports Doug. How are we feeling? I know we had a little bit of a break, but we're ready to get into yet another best of three that I'm super excited about.
SEMO, baby, I'm not going to lie to you. That last best of three was so close at the end that I'm still riding that high. It was 2-0, but it went down like 13-11, 13-12 both games, and it was a freaking blast. And now we've got TSM and 100 Blifted. Woo! Let's go, baby.
Yeah, the AMG is out of the garage. Wardell's ready to park it right on top of the graveyard that may be 100 Blifted after this best of three. And I say that because 100 Blifted, they've got their work cut out for them for one of the top organizations when it comes to Valorant. It is, of course, TSM, who in the power rankings really sit at about, first place or second place when it comes to, and in some power rankings, third place, but still overall, they're top three in NA. And that says a lot to their play style. Of course, we did just watch, or some of you may have just finished watching TSM versus 100 Thieves, which went to map 3. And that third map, very decisive from TSM. And we saw Wardell, he's in tip-top shape today, so expect him to continue to really put on some fancy plays. Now, one thing I do have to mention is that there are, of course, some influencer teams in this tournament. But in my opinion, Esports Doug, I think this one is the hardest one. 100 Blifted are likely the best esports team, influencer team that have been added to this tournament.
Absolutely. And it's not even close, right? Think about you've got, and we can talk about all the players in particular and what have you, but you've got championship caliber players on this roster. Let's not forget that, Ninja is known for his Fortnite and stuff, but he played competitive Halo. He played H1Z1. He played PUBG, and he had a very successful career at all of those. So this squad is stacked. We also had the privilege of casting these guys just this past weekend at the United Charity Tournament, and they popped like they're a good squad. And if they're going to continue to put the work in, if they're going to continue to grind and really commit to this game, there is no cap to how high they can go, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think I even saw a tweet the other day based on yesterday's performance. I think Sony tweeted out saying, hey, if we had some practice, we actually could have had some very close games. And of course, they played yesterday. They played Homeless, they played 100 Thieves, and they played Built by Gamers. I think the closest match was likely the Built by Gamers match. Of course, the first map, Built by Gamers won in overtime 14-12, and they also won against Team Ninja on Haven, also 14-12. So a very close match to be what I consider Built by Gamers, one of the new up-and-coming freshly made rosters, which before was an unsigned team that I thought had veteran players such as Rob Wiz and the rest of the team. You're looking at potentially a close match, but statistically TSM come out on top. If this even goes to map 3, I'd be very surprised. But you have to remember that 100 Blifted are statistically the best influencer team coming into this, so I still expect them to put up a fight.
Yeah, and I don't think you can look over them, and I don't think TSM is, right? TSM, the guys on there, there's a reason why they're considered the best team in North America. It's because they're really damn good at what they do. They put in their preparation, they know who they're playing against. So I don't imagine a scenario in which they are looking past 100 Blifted. Another thing to point out is when we casted these guys last time, Sony was not playing. He had some internet issues. And he wasn't able to compete, and Vegas was playing in his place. And even then, they had moments of brilliance. So I'm pumped to see how this roster looks with Sony at the helm. And then, I mean, what more can we say about TSM? Seriously, they're incredible.
Yeah, we even actually, funny enough, had an opportunity to listen to their comms. And for those of you that are interested, twitch.tv/Sony, I believe that's SONII. He is streaming his perspective as he goes through this match against TSM. So if you're looking for at least a player perspective, I do believe Sony may be the only one streaming. It is possible that Grego might be streaming or Morg, but I have no idea. All I know is that Sony is streaming. So if you're looking for a player perspective, the comms are quite hilarious because I think at times it can be a little quite chaotic. But in the comparison against the team that they were facing at the time, Charlotte Phoenix, their comms were a little bit crazier than
Mm-hmm.
this quote unquote influencer team. So I'm very excited to see how they do against TSM. I still think that somebody like Wardell is just going to have a field day, similar to how Tens runs with his jet. It's difficult to stop. Once the train starts moving, there's no way you are going to have enough strength, enough energy, enough power to put a stop that is the Wardell train. Um, and that doesn't mean that, like, that's off the back of really, even if everyone on 100 Lifted performed, you still have this incredible powerhouse in Wardell who, based on what we saw in the last best of 3, is online and ready to frag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think this is gonna be fun. This matchup is gonna be very interesting. We're getting maps to you guys as soon as we possibly can, along with the gameplay as well. Also, folks, if you are just joining us, do me a favor, drop my man CMO a follow on Twitch right now. Just click follow, right? Super easy, doesn't cost you a thing. And if you've got Amazon Prime, go ahead and hit him with the free sub as well. Gas up my boy CMO. Thank you to him for putting this on. Thank you to the observers and the admins and the producer behind the scenes who are helping put this thing on together as well. It's just a really cool opportunity to get to cast some Valorant. And let's be honest, I love casting Valorant.
You know, one thing I do have to note about TSM, specifically when they don't play with all members of their roster, and I'm looking specifically at a player like Myth, who has been added to the roster from time to time. I think specifically the most notable performance was Twitch Rivals, the North American division. And I still think that he makes a pretty good addition to the team and can still really duke it out, especially in a scenario like this where you've got a quote unquote influencer team. I still think Myth could really come here and bring the fire. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He plays Omen, has good flashes, has recently been positioned to kind of overtake Brimstone in the agent selection meta. And so I think he fits right in. I've seen him work well with the TSM roster, and it seems that they work well with him. Of course, we're not going to see him
Mm-hmm.
here, but I'm just saying that in certain instances, Myth makes a good fit. But speaking of good fits, it's a good fit for us now as we head into the first map. It is going to be Haven, a TSM special, I feel like in some cases. And so we'll see what they have to bring to the table.
All right, looking at 100 Lifted, they've played Haven once. In this tournament. It was against Built by Gamers. It was the one that went 14-12, narrowly in favor of Built by Gamers. 100 Lifted ran the Omen, likely in the hands of Ninja, Sova, Phoenix, Reyna. This is really aggressive. And then Raze to cap it off.
Yeah.
So for as spread out with the 3 sites that this map can be, it seems like 100 Lifted likes to play, at one pace, and that pace is go.
Yeah. The one thing that you can really compare 100 Lifted to is probably their playstyle similar to, and I'm not making a direct comparison, I'm just looking for something to compare it to, but we've seen Sentinels play this incredibly aggressive playstyle. You've got a player like Sinatra that just holds W with the Odin, and he makes it work. He'll find one, he'll find two. There's no knock in the Odin if he's able to produce a performance like that with it. Haven't had a lot of time to really see what Sentinels have been up to this tournament. So far, it looks like they're having an okay time, looking to finish the group and move on to playoffs. But focusing on the match at hand, I think TSM has already clinched. So this map, a little bit more of an opportunity to show how dominant they are in their group.
Yeah, I think this is a potential statement map, right?
Yeah.
For TSM, especially when you Gen G has played really well recently. Cloud9 has played really well recently. So this is a really good opportunity for TSM to cement themselves as the best team in North America. One thing I do want to call out before we get into this, TSM's play on Haven actually pretty similar, slightly different in compositions from what we've seen them do before, a little bit more aggression. Last time we saw them play this, it was also against Built by Gamers. We saw Cypher, Sage, Jet, Brim, and Phoenix. So you sprinkle in a little entry, some smokes, you sprinkle in a whole lot of aggression, and that's what you've got. That's TSM right now.
Speaking of TSM, as you may be just joining us, it is, of course, going to be map number 1. Still no decider of that first map, and it's TSM that are going to kick us off on the attack on a statistically attacker-sided map, so they may have a good run of things. If we see a 12-0 start, that would be very shocking. I still expect 100 Blifted to put some rounds up, so we'll see how many they are able to do so. 9-3 very possible, 10-2 very possible, considering how powerful TSM could be. And so we'll see what those rounds look like for 100 Blifted and where they will find their success.
It looks like they're going to try to get success for the first time in this series over on A, and they've managed to take the site with literally no effort. Now that you hear the spike going down, the retake on this is going to be difficult, to say the least. There's Sony using the drone. He's going to spot two. Actually, there's the flash as well. Wardell's going to get flashed up, and he's not going to have much luck there. Lex, strong first blood.
Yeah, and that's a great pick to kick us off. Grego as well, using some of that raised utility to do some damage. Sabrosa there with the refrag as they just have no idea what's going on. Cutler down from behind. They just all line up for him, and one at a time they will fall. TSM winning the first round. They'll get that. I don't even think they did get that spike down. I was really wondering where they put it. They put it in the corner there on site, but that was looking like 100 Blifted had the opportunity, but unfortunately did not check all their corners appropriately, and as a result, they will be punished. But look at this early purchase come in from Wardell, the Marshal. He is looking to really do some damage and do some damage early to kick us off.
Yeah, and folks, if you're new to competitive Valorant, if this is your first time watching TSM, there are two things that I think are worth pointing out that are a guarantee, right? It's Wardell and a sniper. If those two things at any point in time have the opportunity to be paired up, you've got it. And this is a really good example of that. He's rocking the Marshal. Nerf Ninja, however, is going to greet Wardell with a couple of shotgun shells to the face.
We're seeing now the positioning from the attack. After that unfortunate situation that occurred in the middle of the courtyard, they will lose another from Grego as he holds on to the doors. Now TSM starting those rotations early, but it's Morg on the opposite side. He'll see them now starting to retreat. It's a long way to go, and he'll survive just with 50 HP. Now the hot hand's going to start to come through, but they see one down behind the site. And now with that wall going up, it will give him a lot of space. But Morg, he's waiting on the other side. He's hoping that he can at least peek his way through, but it's the curveball that he'll be greeted with, and a shot from Drone. Sony buying up to the Marshal. Unfortunately, the last one standing for the side of 100 Blifted. And so now as the smokes go down, the cage goes down, it's TSM in a great position to stop Sony from pushing forward.
Yeah, and even with TSM having a couple of members with low health, it's difficult in a 1v3, especially with a Marshal and the spike is down. You don't have any utility there. Yeah, Drone's just going to be able to make quick work of Sony. Another round in the pocket of TSM, and this is a round you expect them to win, right? You win the pistol round, mathematically speaking. You should win the next round as well, and TSM just making things go as they should.
I mean, this is something that we also predicted. However, in some of these rounds, 100 Blifted have at the bare minimum been able to find some picks, some frags. You know, a cheeky little corner like Grego holding onto the doors with the shorty. Like, that's a guaranteed frag, like 9 times out of 10. And so I'm looking for the conversion of these guaranteed frags into actual positioning advantages for the side of 100 Blifted. And so far, it's worked out. Wardell, he hops, he peeks, but it's Grego Maego with the 2 taps. You'll find 2 frags in the courtyard, and that opens up a great round here for 100 Blifted if they hold on to this.
Yeah, the spike taking a leisurely, scenic route all the way across the map. And while it's great because it's going to give teammates enough time to get onto the site and take the site and establish that, you run the risk of losing control before you even get to show up with the package. But you see members of TSM there. They're on A. Lex looking to see if he can spot anyone up from heaven. He's going to get smoked out. And that's going to be the path, the key for Hayes to go in. Grego looking right on the outside of the flank as well. You see Hayes is going to be able to get the spike down, or at least start planting it. Lex trying to get through, and the damage is not going to be enough. Now comes the retake. Can they do it? Can they get this site back? Grego's able to get one. Hayes is going to get dropped at the hands of Lex. That's going to leave one member on the side of TSM. Cutler, you've done it before. Can you do it again? That's certainly going to help. 1 frag on.
Unfortunately for Cutler, he's going to find himself on the opposite side of the barrel of Ninja's operator. A round for 100 Blifted that, in my opinion, they needed, considering how the map plays out as attacker-sided, Haven really favoring the attack, and of course that is where TSM start off. A round for 100 Blifted means there's no possibility for a 12-0. And so now we move on to other possibilities, 9-3, you know, 8-4, 7-5. I mean, I don't predict a 7-5. I don't think 100 Blifted would keep it that close. But now 9-3 very doable, 10-2 very doable, and they can move on to the attacker side and then make a dent into TSM and keep it a little bit closer.
Ninja with off this time. Oh, Wardell gets up close and personal, and well, he's gonna regret it. As he gets taken out, Ninja's able to get a frag as well, and very quickly, TSM is down to 3 members left. The spike is also still back in their spawn.
A couple of peeking shots from TSM. Drone gonna find Sony, and now that opens the way and paves the way really for the site. Ninja, misses that crucial op shot onto Drone, and now back up to full is the Phoenix player as Grego and company are trying to poke and prod their way onto that A site. So far, nothing has really worked out for them as Drone gets a little bit more physical. Unfortunately, that run it back clone will be blown up by a blast pack, and now here comes the retake from the defense.
And it's going to be a difficult retake, but they've got the numbers. We're knotted up 3-3, so it's certainly not out of the realms of possible. Here comes Rego with the showstopper, looking for anyone. Yeah, he's able to tag up Drone, get the kill. Morg is able to get one as well, and once again, TSM is down to 1 member left. The orbital strike might not get the kill, but it's going to flush Grego to his death.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not looking so good here as it's down to the 1v1. Morg finds a frag, but at what cost? Will that spike blow up, or does he have enough time to get the job done? And it looks like the answer is no. Just under a second. Just under a second. Still a close round for 100 Blifted. And those are the rounds that you really want to have against TSM, keeping things close and keeping their economy in a bad spot. And when you think about a match like this, let's hypothetically think that TSM are at full force or TSM are not at full force. If they're not at full force, well, their economy's in shambles. And when they start really, quote-unquote, trying, well, they might not have the economy to do so as they are in, you know, not really the best position. On the opposite side, though, they are obviously putting their best foot forward. They've got sheriffs, they've got pistols. And so they can still make it expensive, but this might be a round that TSM really just walks all over them considering the weapon difference.
Yeah, and considering the opening frag there from Wardell, that's certainly going to help their case. Hayes is able to get one as well. Members of 100 Blifted, dropping left and right like flies. Ninja might get an opportunity at one here just on the other side of the smoke, as it looks like Drone is starting to push forward. Yep, didn't even get the chance to shoot his gun as Drone takes him out. Wardell does as well. And again, folks, 100 Blifted, this doesn't look good.
That was a good try. They were able to get some chip damage onto a couple of members, but of course it did not really bode well for them. Something that I've noticed, and I don't know if this is just specifically that they're playing 100 Blifted, but it's sageless for both sides, and we have seen teams start to adapt to it. But on a map like Haven, considering how useful it can be to take B site, you know, you throw the wall up, you throw smokes on either side, and you get an easy plant on that B side. But now you can't have that easy access that you originally do when you have the Sage. And so not only is TSM now running it, but so is 100 Blifted. They have no intention of bringing that Sage to the full.
Yikes, okay. A good opening number of seconds, for 100 Blifted as 2 members of TSM drop. It looks like it's going to be an aggressive case of trying to get information there from Ninja. He's going to get cleaned up, but he got what he needed. 3 members left on the side of TSM. You see the spike starting to creep its way up through garage. It looks like the play is likely going to be one towards C. The problem is, keep an eye on your minimap, folks. 100 Blifted has that Sova down in the alley. If he doesn't get sniffed out, that could be a problem.
Yeah, they'll use the Lear there to get control of the C site. But little do they know, Sony has got other plans in store, looking to at least get some support from the rest of the defense. They do have the man advantage here, and that could really bode well for them if they use it effectively. Sony going to be spotted out early. That's the running back. That's going to be allowing Morg to push in aggressively. That's a great kill onto Sabrosas. Now the swing will continue onto Drone, but he'll win that gun duel, and now it's just down to the 2v3. They need to make their way onto the site quickly, as Ninja will take out Drone, and now it's just down to 1. It's Hayes, as they will funnel their way onto the site. The wall, though, as it will soon dissipate, Grego will fall, and it's Morg that'll help 100 Blifted win yet another round. A very important round for them to win again. you know, we talk a little bit about TSM obviously being a top 3 team. And we talk about this team, of course, being an influencer team. But these are good strides against an organization like TSM, making your mark round after round, you know, chip away at their confidence and put yourself in a position to succeed. And so far, 100 lifted, it's not doing too bad. It's not doing too bad.
No, and look again.